What's up, guys? Eli here, here for an album review. An album that I had not planned on reviewing, and a band that I had not really planned on listening to. So we're talking about Frozen Soul with their debut, Crypt of Ice. Now, Frozen Soul are a death metal band that formed in 2018 out of Fort Worth, Texas. They started out by getting signed to the infamous Maggot Stomp label, which garnered attention pretty quickly. They were an unsigned band for roughly only about a year. By 2020, they got a record contract with Century Media Records, a larger label known for poaching metal bands from smaller labels once they start making waves in the underground. Frozen Soul are known for the hype surrounding them and kind of a bolt thrower-esque sound, so I figured I should give them a fair shot before writing them off. It's easy to get annoyed by hype, but let's face it, some things are hyped up simply because they're good. Not always, but it does happen. I mean, I almost wrote off bands like Blood Incantation, Skeletal Remains, and Tomb Mold before I had actually heard their music, and it would have been my loss had I not listened. So today I'm reviewing the 2021 debut full-length album, Crypt of Ice by Frozen Soul, once again. I am aware of them having a second album out this year, but I chose to start with the debut because that's just where I dove in, right? The first track, Crypt of Ice, starts with a cool ambient intro before lurching into a speedy riff assault briefly before kind of slowing down to a mid-paced groove, kind of an early breakdown. I'll say it is catchy and it is instantly memorable. Paired with the scathing, evil, almost black metal-ish vocals, this is pretty cool. The mid-paced groove, stays for the whole song and they totally make it work. Track 2, Arctic Stronghold, starts with some very genuine early 90s death metal riffing, the kind that I'm kind of a total sucker for. And I am noticing a lack of guitar solos, which I prefer in death metal to be honest, but they at least make up for it, with some pretty decent riffs. The brief piano intro to track 3 was cool. I wouldn't have complained had it been a little longer even. The drum work on this album kind of reminds me a bit of Donald Tardy from Obituary. Simple double bass patterns showing up when needed and never doing anything that sounds overdone. Track 4, Wraith of Death, has another cool ambient intro, and I feel like these set the song up to kind of have their own unique character, and I like that. I like these ambient intro things that they do. A lot of people seem to not like this album, but I'm almost halfway through it, on my second listen, and I was really enjoying it. Track 5, Merciless, has some blast beats, which I think for the first time on the album. They work, but I would have left them off personally since they don't really fit the band's aesthetics, but that's a minor complaint. The song ends with the sounds of freezing, howling wind, which carries over into track 6. Again, I'm a fan of these kinds of atmospheric type things. And I think that in addition to the bolt thrower influences everyone talks about, I hear a little bit of early Obituary as well, which, makes for a really good combo. Not to say that they don't have their own sound, but everyone has their influences. Track 8 starts, and though I'm enjoying the album, listener fatigue is starting to set in just a little bit. If it weren't for some of the intros, I'd say that the album lacks a little bit in variety. I'm curious to see if maybe that changed with their new album. So I'm going to give Crypt of Ice a 6.5 out of 10. Not a bad score. That's above average, mind you. I expected to not like the album at all, but I really enjoyed the cool riffs, mid-paced grooves, and the kind of evil-sounding vocals. My only complaint was that there wasn't enough variation in the songwriting. A lot of death metal has a linear feel to it, I get it, but there are some ways around it. The cool intros I mentioned certainly helped. They just need a bit more in that department, I think. All in all, it's a cool album, and if you're choosing not to listen to it because of the hype, just give it a shot if you're capable of having an open mind. So anyways, what do you guys think? Have you heard this Frozen Soul Crypt album? Have you heard the new album? Which one do you think is better? Do you think I thought this was pretty decent? Do you think I should bother with the second album, or is it just kind of more of the same? Because I'll be honest, I'm open to giving it a fair listen, but if it's just more of the same, yeah, I don't think that would have any staying power, in my listening rotation or collection or whatever. So, anyways, let's talk about this album. Talk about this band. Let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. Tell me about your dogs and cats. I'd actually be much more interested in that. But anyways, as always, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you, of course. Louis, he's sleeping right now, but he does say hello. Anyways, we will talk soon. Fucking cheers.